Welcome to the Pit Check, your weekly news for the best and heaviest new albums from your favorite extreme metal and hardcore bands. This week, Chaos reigns. We have some of the most unhinged new hardcore, death metal, metalcore, and so much more. To say some of these bands are weird or chaotic is putting it mildly. But we've also got some old school metalcore and even some beatdown hardcore and slam as well. So as always, make sure you subscribe to the channel because we do this every week. And let's get right into this week's best new albums. What if a hardcore band got a computer virus? The insanely chaotic hardcore and metalcore band Soulkeeper has released this wild new EP titled Join Us in Creating Excellence. And this EP is filled with so many glitchy electronic elements, unrelenting mathy panic chords and riffs, and just so many mind-melting breakdowns. This must be what it sounds like when an android has a panic attack. Oh, God! And I also love that they don't lean on the glitchy chaos as like a crutch. The guitars are shredding and riffing, the drummer is disgusting, and the vocalist is literally a feral animal. And yet they somehow walk that line of having all these extra electronic elements, but without overproducing the instruments on the recording. Everything still feels so gritty and rough around the edges. This was a great new EP, but let's be real, 4 songs is just not enough. I am hooked and I need more. Do you miss the golden age of Vanna? The metalcore and melodic hardcore band Vanna is back with their OG lineup for this awesome new little comeback EP titled Time is Violence. Vanna has obviously had several lineup changes and even genre changes over the years, before finally calling it quits like 9-ish years ago. And a few years ago, those founding members actually formed a spiritual successor band named In Spirit, but now they're actually able to take back that OG Vanna name. And this isn't just a return to that original name. This is a return to that original sound. Seriously, this whole EP sounds like it was recorded in 2006. And the band themselves said, quote, "These songs are ours, but they're also yours, born from the moments we've shared together over the years."
Keep coming back to this place in my mind.
This was a really fun and nostalgic 4-song EP. It's just enough to show that they're back and as energetic as ever, but leaves you craving more. If you love that early 2000s metalcore sound, or you used to love this band in high school, definitely give this one a shot. The weirdest band in the world is back again. The French progressive metal / every genre known to man band Igorrr is back with their latest album titled Amen. God, where do you even start with this band if you've never heard of them? Okay, so if you like death metal or black metal, but you also like everything from bassy electronic music to classical and baroque music to trip hop and breakbeat and a fusion of Western and traditional Eastern instruments, then that'll maybe get you started with this band. Let's just say it's not surprising at all that they have a song called ADHD. And I love that this band is able to do this without overuse of samples. I mean, just look at their studio videos and see how much they're doing practically, whether it's a literal chorus or finger cymbals. But I don't want to make it sound like this band is just being weird for the sake of being weird. Every single person involved with this project is so unbelievably talented, and they blend these genres and styles together masterfully. I don't say this lightly, but every single one of these compositions is legitimately genius. I love this band no matter what they do. Need some Sasquatch hardcore? The brutally heavy New York hardcore band Missing Link is back with their latest EP titled Miracle Smile. Missing Link has this heavy, old-school, tough-as-nails hardcore sound, stating their influence from bands like Irate, All Out War, Cold as Life, or Crowbar, among others, and with themselves having members that have played with Internal Bleeding, Age of Apocalypse, Fatal Realm, and Pain of Truth, it should be no surprise then that they can absolutely nail that style. I love this kind of like earth-shattering hardcore. It's just nasty riff after nasty riff and then breakdowns that somehow keep getting heavier and heavier, which I guess makes sense given how much this band seems to love tempo changes and just getting as low and slow as possible. This is only 5 songs, but it feels like a survival mission. If you want some thick and gritty hardcore music, especially for that gym playlist, definitely give this one a shot. If you're getting bored of modern metalcore, try adding some Thall to spice things up. The metalcore and Thallcore band Catsclaw has just released their debut album titled Perfect Death. This is such a fresh and welcome sound for metalcore and even deathcore lovers. The band themselves say, quote, Catsclaw is a Nebraska-based metalcore band fusing Thall grooves, industrial textures, and melodic hooks. With corn-fed grit and sharp songwriting, they bring heavy music into new territory. And the Thall influences really shine on this album. The guitarist here is also in the very underrated Thall band Our Common Collapse, so it makes sense that these groovy and bouncy riffs are literally perfect. And not to mention the absolute monster that is this vocalist. Everything feels like it just comes together perfectly on this album. If you've been bored with a lot of the modern metalcore lately, this is what you've been waiting for. Do you like when your hardcore music sounds like it's having a mental breakdown? The unhinged beatdown hardcore band Underneath has put out their latest EP titled In the Shadow of a Watchtower. This band feels like it's drilling a hole into your skull. This is some of the most frantic and piercing hardcore that I've heard in a while. If you like bands like Nails or Scarab or Scalp, this is about to be your new favorite EP. The guitar work here is punishing and violent, with a great blend of up-tempo grinding and stupidly heavy, hospital-inducing breakdowns. Not to mention their drummer, who's seemingly filled with Red Bull instead of blood, and their vocalist, who sounds like he was ripped from hell and is trying to claw his way back. If you like chaotic beatdown hardcore and deathcore music, you've got to get your hands on this one before it gets its hands on you. 2 words: Kitten Slam. The cat-themed slam and deathcore band Litterbox Massacre have released their unironically sick new album titled The 9 Paws of Hell. As you can imagine, this band is incredibly goofy and self-aware. From the song titles, to the lyrics, to the breakdowns that are so heavy you can't help but smile, this band is just a good time. I also have to commend how genuinely talented this band is. These riffs are surprisingly technical and nasty, and it's not just a bunch of rehashed breakdowns and slams. And this is still unconfirmed, but I do believe the vocalist is possessed by some kind of cat demon. I had such a good time with this one. If you love slamming deathcore or beatdown hardcore music, pick this one up ASAP before it tears up the couch. Want something loud, obnoxious, and cynical? Same. The relentlessly chaotic and absurdist punk crossover band Def Club has released their latest album titled We Demand a Permanent State of Happiness. This entire album is such a scathing and apathetic yet sarcastic spit at what society has become, all while keeping things up-tempo and energetic and kind of Dadaist, really just basking in the absurdity of the world and themselves. Trying to pin down a genre here is also kind of tough. They're very clearly rooted in punk rock and hardcore punk, but they also clearly have death metal and black metal influences, especially with some of these riffs and blast beats. But they also have a surprising amount of that 2000s metalcore post-hardcore guitar work, and super sassy vocals that you'd hear in bands like Blood Brothers or Fear Before the March of Flames. I had an amazing time with this one, and let's be real, I am such a sucker for that goofy, nihilistic vibe. It's definitely me. And here is the full list of all the albums that came out this week. There's a lot of good stuff in here. Definitely check out some of these, even if we didn't cover them on the show today. I really liked this release from Ousted. I probably should have covered it, and maybe I'll still cover it next week, but definitely check that one out. C4 had a really fun album if you like some of that gritty hardcore. And then I Prevail also had a new release that is pretty heavy. And as always, let me know if there's any bands that you want me to check out, anything that I might have missed, or maybe you've got a band or your friend's got a band that you want me to check out. Leave them in the comments below. This is a safe space for music nerds. And that's it. Thank you for joining me on these weekly new album roundup videos, and I'll catch you next week for next week's best new albums.